When we start to see and examine what is here in this present moment, right where you are, you will find yourself being here. You will find your environment being here. And within yourself, you will find your thoughts, emotions, feelings, energies, sensations. Emotions have a tendency to be like visitors. They come and they go. Feelings as well, they come and they go. Even your thoughts, they come and they go, as well as any energetic sensations, experiences, they come and they go. So who stays? Who is staying? And what is here? Any other thought arising in your mind, trying to understand or explain who stays? In a more direct reality is just another thought visiting with explanation who stays, or with a question of further inquiry. So in the direct reality of now, it is another thought arising, another question arising. But who is staying behind the question? Who is here behind the thoughts? You will say, well, it must be myself. But what is this self? What is this myself? When your mind becomes more quiet in a meditative state, the feeling of yourself changes. You're no longer identifying with the knower, the one who knows everything, or the one who understands everything. When you meditate, you just are. You just are with your experience of meditation. Because meditations vary very much. There are many different types of meditations with specific purposes. So for example, if you do a peacefulness meditation, your mind becomes silent. So therefore, it is you staying with peacefulness or in a peaceful space. So the experience becomes the peaceful space. So the question still arises, what is more fundamental? What is more permanent? What is the unchanging? Because with simple inquiry, we can see that your thoughts are changing. Your emotions, feelings, energies, even this body is changing. It is growing, aging. So therefore, the real question is, finding this unchanging reality, the fundamental reality, beyond causality, beyond change. Full consciousness is exactly that. It is that which does not change. It is not subject to change. It is not attached to objects of changing. So one analogy can be this room where you are right now, that this room has a space. The space itself is unchanging. However, what occupies this space of this room, it is changing. So you put some new furniture, you move some things around. Even you yourself, you come and go in the space of this room. The space of the room is unchanging. However, what happens in that space, it is changing. So therefore, the real silence and stillness is that which is not changing. It is the silence beyond silence and sound. It is the stillness beyond movement and non-movement. It is the stable, present background, reality of now. Once discovered, you realize that it is the fundamental existence. It is always present. It will never die. Only life moves through this existence. Life is experienced in this body, in another place, in a meditative state, in a dream state, when you wake up in the morning, in your sleep state. It is life being experienced. But the present space, the present nowness, the background of the now is unchanging. Therefore, the mind goes on a journey to find this ultimate happiness, freedom, and bliss. The mind realizes that the mental happiness is subject to change. Therefore, it starts to look for something more fundamental, for something more real. And the discovery of this unchanging now is called self-realization. It is the discovery of the big self. It is not personal. It is not about this person. It is the discovery that the now has been always here. The space of the now has been always here. You were always aware in the space. You were always conscious. And that never changed. Since the day you were born till now, it has never changed. However, your attention and focus is excited about the development of life or facing the reality of life in many different ways, in happy ways and challenging ways. But that is life, life being lived. And therefore, freedom, the real happiness, lies in the background of life. It lies in the background of now. And this now is so immediately, directly here that the movement of your thought takes you into the mental energy, into the mental reality. Using your mind to understand the now is only as good as your mind is simply hearing, as long as it is simply receptive but not engaging. If your mind produces further thoughts about this now that is being discovered here in this meeting, direct meeting, you should not pursue the analysis or seek for understanding, because where I'm pointing is directly, immediately here. And you can only slow down. You can only relax. You can only shift your attention away from the movement into the background of the now. When you gently shift your attention from what arises inside you, from what moves inside you, you come to see that this background of now has been always here. It is always here, fundamentally here. It allows you to see, to be aware of what moves inside you, a feeling, emotion, of what arises inside you, certain thoughts. So there is a recognition, a direct recognition, that even when your mind is moving, you are aware of the comfort or discomfort of the movement of the mind. You're seeing that already. You can recognize that anything that is happening now, it is being seen, recognized, including this meeting. And if anyone is searching for some understanding, you're missing something much more valuable. So the invitation is to slow down, The invitation is to become more still, or even if your body or mind is moving, to simply bring it into your awareness what your body and mind is doing. There is a certain movement, and you can register in your awareness. If you allow your mind to move unregistered in your awareness, then the movement of the mind is subconscious, habitual, or even unconscious. So you can develop this ability to notice and register what is moving inside you, gently, lovingly. You can recognize that the background of now is here. And what arises and moves within you, it needs to be registered in your awareness so that you don't leave any stone on your path of unconsciousness or conditioning. So in the awareness, which registers everything that happens right now inside you, every stone is turned upside down. Everything that has been hidden or subconscious or unconscious is being revealed, because that which is subconscious or unconscious is influencing your life in an automated way, in a habitual way, in semi or unconscious way. And therefore, this freedom, the true unchanging happiness, and even bliss, it is this background, it is this context where everything is happening, and it is unchanging, but it registers everything what is happening. It is aware, alive, absolutely here. Even when your mind wanders into the past or future, it can be registered in your awareness, that this movement of the mind. So anything that is perceived and occurring in this instant, it is a happening. And the invitation is to come to the reality, which is freeing, unchanging. And therefore it is liberating from the nature of causality. So now we will do a practice together. And take a few moments to slow down, to slow down even more everything inside you. You can feel your breath. If there are thoughts arising or any feelings present, let them be, but gently slow down. Feel your breath. Let everything be. When you slow down, it is easier to go deeper. So you can feel your breath. You can feel how the air comes in to your lungs and belly, and then it comes out through your nose again. A natural flow of air. As you feel your breath, you can feel more space surrounding your breath, surrounding you. It is the space of home. And you can gently recognize this background, silent and still, where everything is happening, where your breath is happening. Your body is present, and emotions are here. It is like the sky would recognize the clouds within. And the sky is unconditional. It does not manage the clouds. It does not resist the clouds. They just happen. And therefore the sky itself is free, beyond causality. So this background of now, the context, the stillness of now, the silence of now, is openly unconditional. It is openly allowing everything to happen. What is happening right now? It is allowing your breath. It is allowing this meditative experience. And the invitation is to glimpse into this background of now And then you can gently let it go because it's already here still. You don't need to try to hold on to it because that is another activity. All you can do is to recognize, see, glimpse, and relax. Slow down. To gently stop any movement into this background of now. We're not aiming for any result of any action, for any fruit of action. Because action and a fruit is also happening in this background of now. So if you were an artist, a painter, you could look at this white canvas and when you paint something on the canvas, the painting itself is part of the canvas. The result is part of the background. In terms of reality, the reality is untouched, unchanged by any experience. So the analogy of the cinema screen, where the screen is white and the movie is portrayed, and the cinema screen is untouched by the fire in the movie. The screen is not wet by the water of the movie. The background of now is untouched by experience and what happens in the now. And yet it is absolutely inclusive and absolutely unconditionally allowing it all to happen as it is. So the background of now has no resistance to what happens in the now. It has no judgment of what happens. It has not even any preference of what happens. It is unconditionally allowing. Just like the sky would allow any clouds, any birds, any planes. It has no preference of what happens in the sky. The preference is subjective. Experience is subjective. So to become free from experience, it is to discover this background of experience. For a few moments to familiarize before you rush into any conclusion. A few moments to widen to feel that larger openness before you rush into the next experience of a certain preference. So this is the beauty of this now, that this consciousness is always here, always allowing, always open, available, unconditional. And you're only making the journey from the outward experience. You're making the journey into the inward experience. And you're making the journey from the inward experience to the present background, unchanging reality. Just like you have engaged with external environment, traveled some countries, met many people, and you got wisdom to know that the truth must be found here inside. So then you started to slow down to the present moment, to meditate, to find more. And then you realize that the inner reality, the inner universe, the inner world is as large as external and even larger and more, has more variety in the magnitude of experiences and frequencies. So the inner reality is infinite. It is not limited by external physical conditions. And after playing few years with the inner reality, with all kinds of meditations and engagements, you started to realize that the truth must be more fundamental than experience. That this freedom is more than a temporary sense of freedom which comes and goes as another experience. So the truth consciousness must be more real, more permanent, and not subject to change. And that becomes the path to liberation from the external, from the internal. Because external and internal are one experience. External experience, internal experience. And they both occur in the same background of now. Always. Undoubtedly. Obviously. Unchangeably. And that becomes the only final conclusion, the ultimate surrender of the search. And therefore, this unchanging happiness becomes available. It becomes transcendent of conditions of happiness or certain challenges or pains. So therefore, this was the search for all the sages, Buddha and Jesus and Krishna. They all had some different descriptions as unconditional love, as the emptiness of experience, as consciousness, whatever tradition, whatever lineage. It all comes down to this background of now. And there's nothing to be glorified, because that will be just another activity. It is so simple. It's always here. It is so profound beyond any idea. It is bigger than any imaginary space. It is much larger than the mind can ever stretch, than the development of your mind. So therefore, this background of now is the ultimate, the final frontier. And you will only search as long as you will need to exhaust the search. As long as your mind will need to exhaust all the bullets, as long as your mind will exhaust all the tricks, all the ways to avoid this present truth, and then to realize that that is the ultimate happiness. So the mind will constantly try to escape and come back, to find and search until it will exhaust any activity and finally surrender and finally let go of itself, of any action, of any movement of the mind, of any identity with any activity, with any happening, to whomever it happens, of any distinction, of any difference. It's all experience. So this is the invitation to come back to this freedom, happiness, stillness. All these qualities are being experienced as a result of the surrender, of the activity and movement, arisal of the mind. So therefore it is unconditioned. The unconditioned background of now, of any experience in the now. invitation is to discover, even when something is stuck, when some energy is stuck, it is stuck here. It is stuck in the body. And there is this space, background, in which this energy is experienced stuck. So when you discover this open space, it immediately surrounds, relatively speaking. It always surrounds, but relatively speaking, it immediately surrounds that stuck energy. And therefore it allows for it to be opened and processed and healed. And these are the processes of healing, the processes of processing, the processes of harmonization. But all these processes happen in this background space of now. And therefore, yes, unconditionally, you can allow these processes to happen. They're happening, they're needed. A lot of harmonization is needed, happening. But the truth is more than harmony. The consciousness is more than feeling normal or feeling good or feeling harmonious. So all of that is experienced in the consciousness of now. So these healing processes, harmonization processes are needed for this body system, because energies are changing, rising in vibration, reconfiguring your energy system. Your chakras are changing. There is always a certain change happening. And the body, your energy body, also is doing all the best it can to keep up with all these new changes, to harmonize it all. But that is energy work. So the answer is yes, it is happening and needed. But the truth, consciousness is more than that. It is where it all happens, unconditionally. Changes will never stop changing. Processes will never stop processing. The now, the happening will always continue happening. But your experience becomes more and more harmonious because you're harmonizing constantly to match the higher vibration, the higher harmony. So your experience will change. It will become more comfortable, more harmonious, more balanced. And ultimately, the complete balance or complete harmony is achieved when you let go of experience, when you let go of holding on to any process. It is the I, the identity. So when you let it go, this background of now, the consciousness of now, then takes care fully of that which is experienced. Otherwise, it is the identity trying to take care of the experience happening. And the identity will always have limitations to take care of this big happening of now, of this whole experience, because identity can only take care of thoughts only to a certain way. Identity can only take care of emotions in a certain way. Identity can only do its best to try. And ultimately, identity needs to be relinquished, surrendered, relaxed, and to allow this now, the consciousness of now, to take care of it all. And then all these energy fields come in harmony when there is no one trying to change or manipulate these energy fields in any kind of way, in any personal way, individual way, which always lacks intelligence. So the I can never truly take care of the now. It is the now consciousness that can truly take care of the now. The I is too small for that. It is only one point in infinity. The I is only one position in the infinity. So the now is too complex for the I to take care of. Any supercomputer will never catch up to that. Any quantum computer will never catch up to that. The ultimate technology of quantum mechanics can only function within the laws of quantum mechanics as a supplementary functioning. But it can never take care of the whole thing. No one can take care of the whole universe apart from consciousness itself, from the source itself. If something comes back again and again, there is a certain incompletion. A cycle is repeated. So therefore you need to become more present, look a little bit deeper to see what disturbs you. What disturbs you in that cycle? It always comes back. What always comes back? What is the disturbance? What is the feeling that always is ignited, initiated within the repeated cycle? The energy work is complex. It's very complex, and it is necessary to a certain degree according to your own capacity, because you always have responsibility for your own actions. So the energy management or energy work is only necessary to the degree of your responsibility. The sun rising every morning, it's beyond your responsibility. The earth rotating on its axis is more than your responsibility. But to take care of your own emotions, negative emotions, that is your responsibility. To take care of negative thoughts and judgments, that is your responsibility. And that is energy work. Energy work. Yes, taking care of what is happening. It is your responsibility to take care of what is happening within the scope of your ability. Because the sky is beyond your scope. The sun, the moon, the earth is beyond your scope. So you can only be responsible to your own actions, cause and effect, to your own inner state, to take care of the low vibrational stuff. And that allows your capacity of responsibility or management or energy work. Your capacity of energy work can increase beyond your inner emotions. It can increase to your immediate environment, how you influence other people, how you affect other people's thoughts, emotions. But first you need to take care of yourself, of your own inner self, before you can take care of other people's emotions, thoughts, feelings, experiences. So that is your energetic capacity, your energetic management. However, even that is relative. It is another activity, another capacity, another management. But the truth of we are speaking today is beyond that. It is not subject to what is happening, how big or small things are happening. So ultimately, when you come to full consciousness, to this background of now, you are beyond happening. You are beyond an aunt, and you are beyond the godly powers, the superpowers. You are beyond the most primitive activity of a dust or a sand grain, and you're beyond any superpower, lightning, solar activity, universal activity. You're beyond any activity, beyond anything that happens. And that is absolute. That's why it is absolute. So today is invitation to home, invitation to truth, invitation to consciousness, absolute.